Hi, Sam. I'm going to give you a video overview of this document because there's so much power in it. Rah. First off, I think this is what you were referring to when you're talking about how to pitch effectively. Well, first off, this is supposed to be less than 90 seconds. And students had a hard time really dialing it in this year, so we created a checklist. So, thank you for being here. We are excited to share our film with you. Introduce people on team, give the log line. Somebody fighting something for something, blah blah blah. You know all that process. Genre that it addresses or genres, stylistic choices that are evident in that particular piece. And since you're doing books, I mean, this should work well as well. Impressions, modeling, inspirational work, etc. The intention behind this one was when students were creating the project, like, what inspired them to do this? A particular movie, a scene, a particular technical thingy that they saw in a film that they wanted to try to replicate. I mean, this could be something with books as well. It's like you were drawn to the book because other books who were like this one. Selling your strong points from the student's creation, but again, this could be the book as well. And strong closing. It's like if you don't read this book, what are you doing living in life? It's like blah. You can have fun with that. And then start individual evidence. Again, this may not apply, and we flip this document over to look at the individual evidence. But right here, these were things to consider. And what's interesting is I would like to create one of these for online process. So you're on a Zoom meeting. What does it mean? So for instance, if you're in the little window that shows you, here's something. You should never be backlit when you're on Zoom, because when you're backlit, your face is in the shadows and you look really dark. Whereas if you're facing a window and then you put your computer between you and the window light comes in and illuminates your face and it looks way better. Or put a light to illuminate your face. That could be one thing. Second thing, word choice. Instead of ums and ahs and so's and whatever, to make sure that the word choice is very precise, very powerful. Because we're limited to a medium of limited visuals, but audio is such a huge component, we maybe double down on that. So if you're interested in that, maybe write down a few things that you think should go here from your perspective, and then I'll make a new version of this for the online version. This right here, this was making sure that things were ready for the presentation. The media is on the presentation computer, first names used, et cetera, et cetera. This would be just getting ready for your pitch. So if you're doing a Zoom meeting about a book, blah, 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 just things to check off. This up here was, what's the first time you practiced it? Where's the second time you practiced it? And this was for me to watch the teams practice before the due date. The way this was supposed to work is that on a Thursday before the presentations the next week, they would do a dry run, just really rough. Then on Friday, they would do another run through. And then on Monday, they would pitch it to the peers, and on Tuesday to the professionals. The idea is that you only get good at presentation if you practice it and practice it well. Now, the flip side of this document may or may not relate to what you're doing, but essentially, each person had to focus on specific skill sets. And what's really neat about this is that you could just pick any one of these columns, and the creative endeavor, the book, the film, the song, you could focus on just the writing style of the book. If you're really into how language is structured, or it could be the plot and plot development. It could be character development. Whatever this author is known for, you could pick one of these categories, and these could be, again, changed to different books and whatnot. And if you're interested, this file is an Adobe Illustrator file, and it could be modified to have book stuff or whatever. Anyway, let me zoom in here if I can. I don't think it will. Okay. So what I'm trying to show you here is what, why, when. I'm sorry, where. So when you're pitching your individual stuff, the idea was you verbally say the what, you verbally say the why, and then you show in the book or the film or whatever you created that evidence. So it's verbal, verbal, visual. That was the rhythm we were trying to establish this year for really powerful presentation. And so on the flip side of this document, if you're going through all this stuff, that's cool. That's a 90-second pitch about overview of the book. Boom, done. If you were going to go into a little more detail, you would pick one facet of the book and you would say, here's what I thought the author was trying to do, here's why the author was trying to do it, and here's where it is. And you would show on screen a passage of the book where they demonstrated really powerful character development or a certain writing style you're trying to highlight. And the way this document was supposed to work this year is that session one, which was September, they had one skill, one thing they had to showcase. What was the skill? Why were they working on that skill? And where in their production do we see it? And that might be camera angle. In session two, they had two skills they had to put together. Session three, three skills. They didn't get any more time. They just had to be more concise. And again, 90 seconds to get all this stuff through. So it was 90 seconds for the pitch for the whole team, and then 90 seconds or less per person to pitch what they did. And as we got further in the year, it got pretty tight, but they had to be way more efficient with their word choice and really be well practiced. That was the intention behind this, and it worked pretty well. It was intense. Some people really had a hard time with it, but we're growing and learning and figuring this stuff out. All right, this is the video overview of this document. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know if you want a copy of this, or if you get a digital copy and you doodle on it, write notes or something like that. I'm happy to make a digital version, either for books, which would be really fun. I think that would be really exciting, and also a digital version for film, and I use this for School of Rock and for game design as well. All right, hopefully that's helpful, and good luck.